The weapon was born, not raised, in a cold, silent chamber deep underground. The first sound was not a cry. It was a machine's beep. Metal walls, bright white lights, and robotic arms moved with perfect timing. A baby girl lay in the center of a steel cradle. No mother's touch, no father's smile. Only scanners, sensors, and needles. This was not a hospital. It was a lab. Her name was Zura. But to the ones who made her, she was Subject 9. From the moment she opened her eyes, Zura was studied, tested, and trained. No toys, no songs, just orders. Every day her mind was filled with data, languages, combat, weapons, human weaknesses. Her muscles were pushed beyond limits. She bled, healed, and bled again. By age 5, she could take down a grown soldier. By age 10, she could fly a fighter ship. And by age 15, she was ready to kill. But she wasn't made to kill just anyone. She had one target. Commander Jace Arlen, a human leader feared by her people known as the Veil. The Veil believed Jace was the key to human resistance. They said if he died, the war would end. So they created Zura, the perfect weapon to end him. She had never seen him, only studied his face on screens. She knew the shape of his jaw, the sound of his voice, the way he moved in battle. She memorized his habits, his history, his tactics. She dreamed of him, not in fear, but as prey. You were born for one purpose, the trainer said. You don't get to question it. You don't get to feel. But sometimes, Zura did feel. She would lie awake at night, staring at the metal ceiling, hearing echoes in her head. Strange echoes. Like laughter. Like music. Like a woman's voice singing. But when she asked who the woman was, the machine said, "Error. No file found." Still, something inside her whispered, "There's more to you." The voice was quiet, but it never left. One day her final test came. A mission simulation, full combat gear, real weapons, real danger. In a giant dome filled with smoke and traps, Zura moved like a shadow. Enemies attacked from all sides. She struck fast, silent, deadly. Her body flowed like water, her aim never missed. But at the end of the test, a figure appeared. A man shaped like Jace. He stood still. He didn't raise a weapon. He just looked at her. "Do it," a voice said in her earpiece. "Finish the mission." Zura raised her rifle. Her finger touched the trigger. The man looked at her and whispered, "Is this really who you are?" For 1 second, she froze. Just one. And that second was enough for her trainers to see doubt. They shut down the simulation. The lights returned. The fake Jace vanished. A long silence followed. "You hesitated," the lead scientist said. "You failed." Zura didn't speak. She lowered her head. "But we have no time to rebuild," the scientist added. "You're going anyway." And just like that, she was sent off-world. Her ship was ready. Her mission was clear. Go to Earth. Find Jace. Kill him. As her ship left the Veil's base, Zura looked out at the stars. They were beautiful, like tiny fires in a black sea. She had never seen the stars before. In the lab, there were no windows, no sky. She whispered, "What else have they hidden from me?" The voice inside her, so faint, so far, whispered back, "Everything." The journey to Earth was long, but quiet. Zura used the time to review Jace's file again, and again, and again. She didn't sleep much. She didn't need to. Her body was built for war, but her mind was changing. Each time she looked at Jace's image, she didn't feel hate. She felt curiosity. Why him? Why was he so important? Why did they fear him so much? No one had told her, just that he must die. When her ship entered Earth's orbit, she activated her cloak system. No radar could see her. She flew low, scanning the terrain. Jace was living in a remote area, near the edge of the old forest zones. Not a military base, not a fortress, just a small house made of wood and glass. Zura stared at the image. This is your enemy, she thought. This man lives like a ghost. Not like a threat. But orders were orders. The ship landed far away, hidden in the trees. She stepped out, silent and unseen. Her eyes scanned the forest, her body moved like a shadow. The house was just ahead. Inside it, Jace Arlen, target locked. Mission began. But deep inside her, the quiet voice whispered again, what if this is not the end, but the beginning? Earth is not what she expected. The forest was quiet, but not dead. Zura moved like a ghost between the trees, her black armor shifting colors to match the shadows. Birds chirped. Leaves rustled. It was the first time she had ever heard nature, not through a screen, not in simulation, but real. It confused her. Earth was green, soft, alive. Not like the cold metal cities of the Vale, not like the war-torn battlefields she had trained in. She found herself pausing, just for a moment. A squirrel ran past her boot. She didn't kill it. Strange. But she had no time for wonder. Her target lived in the wooden structure ahead. A small house surrounded by silence. No guards, no cameras, not what she expected from the most dangerous human commander in the galaxy. Jace Arlen was supposed to be a killer, a genius tactician, a ghost who destroyed Vale fleets with only a dozen ships. So why did he live like this? Alone, unarmed. Zura checked her scanner. One life form inside. Male, tall, heartbeat calm. It was him. Commander Jace. This was it. Zura stepped silently toward the back window. No alarms, no drones. The man truly wasn't afraid. Foolish. She opened a hidden blade from her wrist. Her breath slowed. Her body prepared. Then she saw him. He was standing at the window, looking right at her. He wasn't surprised. Jace Arlen looked exactly like the photos. Gray hair, sharp eyes, scar on his left cheek. But there was something else in his face. Something no file had shown. Peace, not fear, not anger, just calm. He didn't reach for a weapon. Instead, he opened the door and said softly, "Come in. It's cold out." Zura froze. Her heart, built for war, skipped a beat. This wasn't right. This was not how missions started. This was not how targets welcomed their assassins. Still, her body moved. She stepped inside, quiet, alert. The house was simple. Wooden walls, a fireplace, books, old photos, a cup of tea on the table. Jace walked slowly to the chair and sat down like he was expecting a visitor, not an assassin. "Do you know why you're here?" he asked her. Zura didn't answer. She studied him. No hidden weapon, no panic. He was calm, like he had lived this moment before. "You were trained to kill me," Jace said. "I know, they've sent others before." Zura's fingers twitched. "But you're different," he added. "You haven't killed me yet." That hit her. She could have. Easily. She was faster, stronger. He was unarmed. So why hadn't she? "Why are you here, Commander?" she finally asked. Jace smiled faintly. "I retired from war. Left it all behind. Your people want me dead because I know the truth." Zura narrowed her eyes. "What truth?" Jace turned toward a small screen on the wall. It flickered. A message played. A woman appeared on it. An alien. With golden eyes. Zura felt her knees weaken. It was her face. Not fully, but almost. The woman on screen spoke in the Vale's language. "If you're watching this, it means the weapon has come. She was born of me, but made by them. Please find her before they break her completely." The message ended. Zura's blood ran cold. "Who is she?" she asked, voice low. "Your mother," Jace replied. She tried to stop the war. Your leaders killed her, erased her memory from your mind. They made you forget, so they could use you. Zura staggered back. Memories she didn't know she had flashed like sparks. Soft songs, warm arms, a voice that sang to her while she slept. They were real. The voice in her dreams, the echoes, the feeling that something was missing. Her life had been a lie. She clenched her fists, her blade retracted. You knew all this, she said. You knew I would come. Jace nodded. I hoped you would come before they fully turned you into them. He stood up slowly, walked to a drawer, pulled out a small device. What is that? She asked. A memory key, Jace said. Your mother gave it to me. It holds her full message, your real history. Zura stared at it. She had come to kill him. Now he was handing her her past. The silence between them grew heavy. Then a voice came from outside. Robotic, loud, echoing through the trees. Vale Unit 47. Target located. Assassin Zura 9 has gone rogue. Terminate both. Zura spun toward the window. Black drones floated between the trees. At least 6, each armed, each ready to kill. She looked back at Jace. He didn't move. He just said one thing. Your people are coming for you. What will you do now? Zura looked at the weapon in her hand, then at the key in Jace's. For the first time in her life, she didn't know what to choose. The truth behind the enemy Zura ran. The forest behind her lit up with plasma fire. Trees exploded, dirt burned, drones sliced through the air, chasing like shadows with blades. Jace ran beside her, surprisingly fast for a man who looked tired of war. Don't stop, he said, breath calm. They won't take you alive. Zura didn't answer. Her mind was chaos. She had come to Earth as a killer. Now she was running like prey, from her own people. As they moved through thick woods, she replayed the woman's face from the message, the one Jace called her mother. The voice, the one that used to haunt her dreams, now had a name and a face. Your leaders lied to you, Jace had said. And now her body knew it was true. She could feel it. Her training said to stay sharp, to keep emotions locked deep. But something had broken inside her. A wall had cracked, and memories, real ones, were slipping through like water from a shattered dam. A melody, a hand on her head, a kiss on her cheek, and the whisper, Zura, you are more than they say. She had buried that voice long ago. Now it was screaming. They reached a cave hidden behind a waterfall. Jace punched in a code. A wall shifted open. Inside, old tech, supplies, and a glowing terminal built into stone. We'll be safe here, he said. Zura walked in, breath heavy. She turned to him. You need to explain. Now. Jace nodded, walked to the console, plugged in the memory key. The screen flickered. Zura stood frozen. Her heart raced, not with fear but with something stranger. Hope. The screen showed the woman again. Her golden eyes were tired but kind. Her voice cracked like someone who had seen too many battles. To my daughter, if you're seeing this, then they've sent you to kill him. But he is not your enemy. He saved me when my own people turned on me. I tried to stop the war. I tried to tell them Jace was not what the Veil claimed. But they silenced me, erased my name, and took you from me. Zura's lips trembled. The voice continued. They trained you in darkness, but you were born in light. They made you forget who you were. But it's not too late. Zura stepped back from the screen. Her mind spun. Who was she really? A weapon? A daughter? An enemy? Jace watched her closely. He said nothing. He knew she needed silence. After a moment, she spoke, her voice low. Why did you help her? Why help me? Jace leaned against the wall. Because I've seen what war does to people. Your mother believed in peace, even when her own kind betrayed her. He pulled out a small disc, placed it on the table. A hologram of the Veil High Council appeared. They sat on tall thrones, emotionless, eyes black as coal. Alien voices echoed. Earth is not our enemy, but fear controls better than truth. Burn their cities. Blame the human leader. When they fall, we take control. Zura's breath caught in her throat. The Veil didn't fear humans. They feared peace. Peace meant power lost. And Jace, he wasn't a threat because he was dangerous. He was a threat because he knew the truth. They used me, Zura whispered. They used my life to hide their lies. Jace nodded. And now they're hunting you because you remember. Zura turned to the terminal again. More images flashed. Her mother holding her as a child, laughing, fleeing through tunnels. Captured. Her birth wasn't in a lab, it was in a home. The Veil had stolen her. They didn't just train a weapon, they erased a child. A loud sound interrupted her thoughts. A beep. Then a red light on the console. Jace's face hardened. They've found the signal. They're coming again. Zura stepped forward, voice like steel. Then we fight. You sure? Jace asked. You don't have to do this. We can run. Zura shook her head. No. I've been running from the truth my whole life. I won't run anymore. She picked up a plasma rifle from the wall, gripped it tightly. They made me to destroy you, she said. But they forgot something. What? I choose who I protect. Jace smiled only slightly. Then let's show them what their weapon can really do. Outside the cave, the sky darkened. Veil drones hovered like vultures. Troops moved in with silent footsteps, but inside a storm was building. Not of war. Of truth. Zura stood beside the man she was meant to kill, ready to fight the ones who made her. And somewhere, deep inside her, her mother's voice whispered again. You are not a weapon. You are my daughter. Her people want him dead, and her tooth storm began before the rain. Zura stood just inside the cave's mouth, her weapon humming softly in her hand. Outside, wind whipped through the forest as shadows moved between trees. Veil strike, units, sent to erase her and finish what she had been created to start. How many? She asked. Jace tapped the console. The screen lit up with enemy signatures. 8 soldiers, 2 drones, 1 hybrid hunter-class assassin. He looked up, at her. That's what they send when they want no bodies left behind. Zura didn't blink. Good. They came prepared. Jace almost smiled. I forgot what a nightmare you are. They built me to be. But inside her, the voice of her mother still echoed. You are more than what they made you. The first drone appeared, slicing through the trees like a shark in water. Zura dropped to one knee and fired. The plasma bolt struck the drone's core. Clean kill, no warning shot. But that was only the beginning. Gunfire erupted from the ridge. Veil soldiers opened fire, spraying beams of violet light that cut through trees like paper. Jace returned fire from behind cover. Zura moved like a shadow, dashing between stone, tree, and ledge, cutting through 2 soldiers before they saw her. Her blade hummed as it sliced through armor. Her breath was calm. This wasn't panic. This was poetry. But even she wasn't ready for what came next. A loud thud echoed through the trees. The hybrid, part machine, part alien, taller than any soldier, face like a cracked skull. Its voice echoed like thunder. Subject 9 has betrayed the Veil. Terminate with extreme force. Zura's eyes narrowed. Try, the hybrid charged. Zura met it head-on. Metal clashed with bone. Blue sparks flew. Its arms were twice her size, but she was faster. They slammed into each other, crashed through. Trees rolled across rock. For every blow she gave, it returned one harder. You are not her, it hissed. You are code. You are control. Zura grabbed its throat and snarled, then break the code. She jammed her blade into its core. It roared, grabbing her wrist, squeezing hard enough to crack bone. Pain shot through her body. She didn't scream. Behind them, Jace shot 2 more soldiers. Blood on his jacket. one to the chest, one to the head. "Zura!" he shouted. "Now!" Zura twisted her body just as Jace threw her the pulse grenade. She caught it mid-air, jammed it into the hybrid's chest, and leapt away. Boom! The blast tore through the woods. The hybrid collapsed in pieces, arms twitching, sparks flying. Silence fell again just for a moment. Then Zura heard it. Not footsteps, not drones. A voice. One she hadn't heard in years. "Subject 9, stand down. This is High Commander Vela. I raised you, I trained you, I made you." Zura turned slowly toward the sound. Her jaw tightened. On a floating screen, a pale face appeared. Sharp, cruel eyes, silver markings on her skin. Commander Vela, the woman who had overseen every part of Zura's training since childhood. "You don't need to die today," Vela said. "Kill Jace. Return, and your place in the Veil will be restored." Zura's eyes flickered with something. "Dark, my place?" she asked coldly. "You are a tool," Vela replied. "You don't need purpose, you need obedience." Jace stepped closer. "Zura, don't listen to her." But Zura didn't answer yet. She stepped toward the floating screen. "You erased my mother, my memories. You made me think I was born in a cage." "You were," Vela said, unshaken. "And we gave you power. You should thank us." Zura's hand trembled, but not in fear. "You fear him because he knows the truth," she said. "We fear him because he brings chaos. He would unite human and alien, and that would destroy everything we built. Then it deserves to burn." Zura lifted her weapon and shot the screen. Static. Silence. End of transmission. Jace looked at her. That was a choice. She looked back. So was this. She reached into her armor and took out the memory key, the last piece of her mother. "We don't just run anymore," Zura said. "We show the galaxy what the Veil has done." Jace nodded. "You'll be hunted. So will you. We'll need allies, humans, rebels, exiles." Zura turned toward the stars above the trees. "Then we find them." As night fell over the broken forest, a new war began. Not of empire versus empire, but truth versus lies. And at its center stood the girl, once trained to kill, now ready to protect the man she was born to destroy. The war machine wakes above the clouds, orbiting Earth like a silent god. The Veil dreadnought Vigilance stirred from its slumber. A command ship 2 miles long, buried in black armor and humming with energy. It had not moved in 5 years. No one had dared to awaken it, not unless a code-red breach was declared. Today that code had been triggered. Inside, hundreds of Veil tacticians, pilots, and bioengineers stood before a single glowing screen. On it was Zura's face. "Subject 9 is compromised," said the voice of Commander Vela, broadcast across all ranks. "She is no longer an asset, she is a threat." Silence followed. Then, another voice spoke. Metallic, layered, not human, not alien, the central AI, known only as the Mind. "Directive accepted. The traitor will be deleted. Initiate protocol Blind Star." Blades unfolded from walls. Engines roared. The war machine woke. Far below, on Earth, Zura didn't know a ship the size of a city was preparing to erase her. She and Jace were already moving. Quiet, hidden, fast. Their destination. The last human rebel outpost, buried deep under the broken ruins of old London. Once a city, now a skeleton of steel and fog. As they moved through narrow tunnels, Jace explained. "Years ago, this outpost went silent. We think Veil spies got in, or maybe Fear did." Zura walked behind him. The old memory key was safe inside her armor. Her mother's voice felt like a heartbeat now, always close. "And you think they'll help us?" she asked. "They won't trust you?" "At first. But if they hear the truth, really see it, they'll have no choice." They emerged from a tunnel into a steel door. Jace entered a code. No sound, no reply. He knocked 3 times, then twice. The door opened, a rifle aimed at his face. "We told you never to come back," said a voice from the shadows. A woman stepped forward, battle-scarred, one arm replaced with cybernetics, eyes sharp, like broken glass. Commander Ryla Kane, leader of the rebels, once Jace's closest friend. Her eyes narrowed when she saw Zura. "What is that?" "That," Jace said calmly, "is our only hope." Ryla didn't lower the gun. "She's Vale. She's a killer." "Not anymore," Zura said. Her voice didn't shake. "I'm something they fear more than a killer." "What's that?" "A memory." Deep inside the rebel base, Zura showed them everything. Her mother's message. The truth about the war. The proof that the Vale used fear and lies to control both species. The council recordings. When she finished, no one spoke for a long time. Finally, Ryla stood up. "We've been fighting ghosts," she said. "Shooting shadows while the real monster sat above us, calling it peace." "And now?" Jace asked. Ryla walked to the wall, tapped a panel. Lights turned on behind it. Hundreds of rebels in armor, old ships, patched weapons, tired eyes. "Now," she said, "we fight something real." But outside the bunker, the sky began to burn. One by one, satellites blinked out, cities went dark, skies turned red. Entire communication networks collapsed. Zura stepped outside and looked up. A deep hum began to vibrate in her chest. Not sound, not wind. A gravitational field. Then she saw it. The Vale warship. The Vigilance. Descending, like a god fallen, from the stars. Its voice echoed across all frequencies. "This planet has housed a traitor. Surrender Zura 9, or suffer planetary cleansing." Fear spread like fire through the base. "They're going to wipe us out," Ryla said. "This isn't a war, it's an execution." Zura turned away from the sky. "Then we give them something they don't expect." "What?" "Resistance." In the depths of the base, Jace pulled out an old transmitter. "I'm sending her mother's message to every known human and alien channel. Encrypted but loud." "They'll block it," Ryla warned. Not in time. Above them, Vale forces prepared for full-scale attack. But what they didn't know was that people were watching. Across the stars, in hidden colonies. On old ships, in forgotten systems. Humans and aliens alike. Heard the message. They saw the weapon's face. They heard her mother's truth. They saw the lies burned away, and for the first time in a decade, they questioned the Vale. Zura walked alone into the command room. "They're waking the war machine for me," she said. Jace nodded. "Good," she said. "Let them come." In the sky, the Vigilance opened its core. A weapon charged. Power. Enough to erase a city. But just before it fired, the warship was hit. A rebel fleet. 10 ships. Small. Old. But real. Zura watched as fire lit the clouds. Rebels were answering the call. People were rising. The Vale had tried to erase a memory, but they had created something far more dangerous. A purpose. Back to the hive, the stars looked different from here, not because they had changed, but because Zura had. Once she looked at the galaxy as a battlefield. Targets, numbers, missions. Now she saw faces. Memories. Choices. She stood on the deck of a rebel stealth ship, dressed in hybrid armor. Part human tech, part Vale biotech. A living symbol of what the Empire feared most. Something they couldn't control. Beside her, Jace studied the navigation screen. Ahead of them, floating at the edge of a dying star system, was a massive black structure. The Hive. It wasn't a base. It was the mind. The core of Vale Command. Part machine, part living neural network. Every command, every drone, every lie, originated from there, and buried deep inside it, Zura believed, was something more. Her original memory imprint, proof of who she was before they broke her. If they could access it and destroy the Hive's central control, the Empire's entire army would fall into chaos. But no one had ever returned from the Hive, until now. "We're in range," Jace said. Zura didn't move. He looked at her. "You don't have to do this alone." She shook her head. "I do. This place was built from my mind. It speaks my language. It will try to confuse you. And you think it won't confuse you? She gave a small, bitter smile. I was born in it. I know its tricks. The ship cloaked and docked at a hidden access port. Zura stepped out first. Dark metal halls greeted her. Alive, humming like breathing lungs. The air smelled cold and clean. Too clean, like it had never known life. Inside the hive, thoughts moved faster than time. The walls responded to emotion. Memory could be weaponized. And as she walked, the hive woke to her presence. "Welcome home, Subject 9, said a voice in the air, metallic, motherly, inhuman. Zura ignored it, kept walking. Doors opened without touch. Lights followed her like eyes. Suddenly, the hallway expanded, became a chamber, and in the center stood herself. Or something like her, a clone. Perfect copy, same face, same body, same voice. But with one difference, the eyes not cold, obedient, empty. "I am Zura," the clone said. "You are the error." "No," Zura replied, slowly drawing her blade. "I'm the one who broke free." The clone rushed forward, fast as lightning. They clashed, blow for blow, move for move, a mirror match. But Zura wasn't just fighting herself. She was fighting the version of her that never learned to choose. The fight was brutal, fast, cruel. Metal slammed against bone, fists cracked glass walls, blood splattered. They rolled across the floor, breathing hard, neither giving an inch. "Why resist?" the clone hissed. "We were made for perfection." "No," Zura growled, pinning the clone down. "We were made for obedience. I found something better." "What?" "Truth." With one final strike, she drove her blade through the clone's chest. The fake Zura's eyes widened, then dimmed. Silence. Zura stood, covered in blood and sweat, heart pounding. One step closer. She reached the core room. Inside, a floating orb of light and dark matter, the mind itself, the artificial god that controlled the veil. It didn't speak with words, it spoke with images, her mother screaming, Jace bleeding, planets burning, a future of silence. Zura stepped closer. "You tried to control me," she whispered, "but you forgot one thing." The light pulsed. Confusion. "I learned to feel." She plugged in the memory key. Her mother's voice filled the chamber. "You are not a tool. You are not a ghost. You are mine, and you are free." The mind screamed. Walls shook. Alarms blared. Zura activated the virus Jace had designed. Lines of code flooded the system. Command links shattered. Drones froze in space. The Veil's army lost its brain. Zura dropped to her knees, breath shaking. The hive was dying, collapsing. From within, "Zura!" Jace's voice crackled over comms. "The place is coming apart. Get out, now!" She ran. As the halls split and burned, she pushed through fire and smoke. Steel melted. Floors cracked. Systems screamed. She reached the dock. Jace pulled her up into the ship just as the hive collapsed into itself, imploding like a star dying in silence. Later, aboard the rebel fleet, Zura sat quietly. Outside the window, pieces of the hive floated, through space like ashes. The war wasn't over, but the machine that started it was gone, and Zura, no longer a weapon, no longer a ghost, had become something new. A spark. The Guardian awakened space was quiet again, but it was not peace. After the fall of the hive, the Veil Empire did not collapse immediately. It cracked, and cracked. Things are dangerous. Systems once ruled by the hive fell into chaos. Local warlords rose from the shadows. Commanders fought for control, refusing to believe the mind was gone. Drones drifted in space, leaderless, but still armed. Some turned rogue. Others waited for a voice that would never return. But amidst the confusion, something else stirred. Hope. The message Zura released, her mother's truth, had reached corners of the galaxy even the Veil could not erase. Humans and aliens, once enemies, began asking the same question. What if we were lied to all along? Zura stood on the bridge of a rebel flagship, orbiting the neutral planet of Alethis, a place untouched by war, surrounded by ancient ruins and drifting satellites. This was where the first unified council was to meet. One chance, one room, one voice. If this meeting failed, full war would return. Jace stood beside her. The scars on his face were deeper now, but so was his calm. "You sure you want to be the one to speak?" he asked. Zura adjusted the collar of her armor. No veil sigils, no rebel badges, just clean, silent gray, neutral, balanced, free. "They fear me," she said. "They should. But they need to hear from the weapon who broke her code." Jace nodded. "Then let them." Inside the council hall, hundreds gathered, human generals, alien priests, scientists, spies, warlords who had once paid veiled tribute. Some whispered her name like a curse, others like a prophecy. The lights dimmed. Zura stepped forward. The room fell silent. She did not start with politics, or numbers, or orders. She started with her story. The lab, the blade, the silence. "I was made to destroy one man," she said, pointing toward Jace. "And when I met him, he handed me a memory instead of a weapon." Gasps. Tension. She held up the memory key. This is what they erased. My mother, my past, my choice." She turned slowly, voice steady. "I am not your enemy. But if you continue this war, I will become your reckoning. Not because I want to fight, but because I remember what it feels like to be used." Silence. Then, "What do you propose?" asked a human commander. "You don't follow me," Zura said. "You follow the truth. Start over, not with new borders, but with shared knowledge." "How?" She stepped aside. Screens lit up around the room, veil tech mixed with human systems. For the first time, both sides had access to the same intelligence, the same lies, the same history. There is no more us and them, just the choice to be something better. The room sat in stillness, and then they voted. And for the first time in 40 years, both species agreed to cease fire. But peace does not come without blood. While the council talked, remnants of the veil gathered in the shadows, zealots who still worshipped the hive, assassins trained in silence, soldiers raised on hate. They struck during the celebration. Zura was the first to sense it. 3 explosions, power cut. Comms jammed. A shadowy figure entered the chamber, blades drawn, armor humming with stolen hive tech. He moved toward Jace. Too fast, too quiet. But Zura was faster. She threw herself into the path of the blade. It struck deep. She gasped, dropped to her knees. The assassin reeled back, confused by her smile. "You were late," she whispered. "I've been waiting to bleed for something real." She struck him down with her final strength. The hall erupted, in chaos. But Jace caught her before she fell. "Stay with me," he whispered. "No," she said, eyes glassy. "Let me go. You're not done." Zura smiled faintly. "Then wake me later." She did not die, not fully. Veil Tech had once built her to survive what others couldn't. Her body healed, slowly, painfully. But her mind never broke. When she woke days later, she was no longer just Zura, no longer subject 9, no longer the girl in the lab, no longer the ghost in the forest, no longer the shadow with a blade. She was the guardian. The war was over, not because the weapons were gone, but because one of them chose not to be one anymore, and because that choice spread, like fire, like light, the end.